All right, so U.S. home prices surged again in October as the U.S. housing market continues to boom. Look at this video ad covering the text. In the wake of last year's Rona recession, the S&P CoreLogic Chase Schiller 20-city home price index out Tuesday climbed 18.4% in October for a year earlier. So that's nearly a 20% gain for sellers in a year. The gain marked a slight deceleration from 19.1% year-over-year increase in September, but was in line with with what economists have been expecting. Oh, look, the 3D printed houses ad is in there too. All 20 cities. I'm not going to go into all the 20, but this news comes to us from CBS News. It is the it is the one of the variants. They had another news story that talked about the variant potentially making rates stay low, which is about a week old because we know that didn't happen. As we see, this week has been totally different. Let's see. It remains unclear if the shift is permanent or an aberration, says Craig Lazar, managing director of the S&P Dow Jones Indices. But the housing market is strong thanks to rock bottom mortgage rates and limited supply of homes on the market and pent up demand for consumers locked in last year by the pandy. The Rona has driven many Americans tired of being cooped up at home during lockdowns and office closures to seek more suburban areas that provide more space that are not congested as apartments in big cities. Along with this article, which I thought was really interesting, was the Redfin CEO saying that his quote was, everyone is leaving New York and going to Florida, which I'm sure.
Mass exodus.
Yeah, mass exodus. It literally he said everyone, which I think there's still people in New York last time I checked. But Zillow came out and said Tampa Bay is the number one city to watch as far as where everyone is moving to. So I thought that was interesting on the heels of this information. We've been talking about it for a year, people moving into more suburban areas out of big cities, but it looks like Florida is the place to go.
I mean, I think it's been that way for a while.
I wonder if it's a lot of the boomers moving and you have that silver wave we've all heard about.
That's what I predict that 2 years ago.
Melissa Mara said, in all honesty, people living New York and New Jersey for Florida is not a new thing. It's been happening for a long time. But I think what they're seeing in the data is that it's more than ever. It's an overall increase of that.
Right. I know. And when we've hit it a bunch of times, but it's like there's always a good, what did Marley predict? She predicted like 30% of people would move or something a couple of years ago. But there's always people moving, and it is up, but it's still up by a couple percentage points. You got to remember there's 40 million people in California. So if 2 million people leave, that's great for traffic. So please, 5 million can go. That'd be awesome. But it's kind of normal.
All right. Next up.
I wanted to add to this one, by the way, just a point for realtors. I think Ray already kind of mentioned it, but as you're reaching out to people and checking in on them, maybe all your potential sellers or people that are maybe on the fence, let them know in the last year they've made possibly 20%. And what I would do in just a year, by the way, that's not considering what happened in 2020 when it was 16%.
Yeah.
But what I would do is I would do some math based on February 2020, what home prices were at, and then what things closed at in December in your area. I would do your area. So you're not saying, hey, you made 20%. And then you're like, oh, dang it. Because I did some researches on the 4 counties I work, and it was like 12% higher. San Bernardino County, the county I live in, is 17% they made in the last year. So I would do those research, see what something closed. I would go right before the Rona. Something closed at February of 2020, and then something that closed last month. And then do the math in whatever area or farm, if you have a geo farm or whatever, and then do the comparison. Go, look, hey, you've made this much money potentially in the last year and a half, almost 2 years. That's, a no-brainer for sellers if they are on the fence at all.
So for my past clients, I'm doing comparative market analyses for their homes. So
everyone that bought
everyone that's ever bought, even last year. Everyone that's ever bought, they're getting an annual update on their investment. Yeah. Right? So here's what you bought. Here's what it's done in the last however long since you've owned it, right? So here's what it would sell for today if you're going to sell it. What's interesting is I had a meeting with one of my past clients last night about potentially selling their home. And they said, so where are we now? And I think I sold them the house like 2 years ago. And previously that would be like this is not going to be a good situation, but they are coming out smelling like roses. Like this is like, how high can it go? They're in a really good area. They bought a good spot and it went up. And I think they paid a little more because they thought they were going to stay a little longer. And so they were willing to pay a little more to win a bidding war 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Now they're still coming out right. So,
right.
but all my past clients, the people where you send the Christmas card and it doesn't kick back to you, they're still there. All of those folks are getting comparative market analysis. The others I'm wiping from the database. So it's a good idea to do during this time of year, especially just to update people and let them know what's happening. But good thought, Dan.
Yeah, and if you're feeling a little under the weather and can't get out there and door knock, or if the weather's not right for you, you can't get out there and door knock, do that. Update your database.
Yeah. That's a great thing to, if it does pick up and people are shutting down, like you can send a piece of mail with a piece of paper saying, hey, I know we can't get out right now, but I've ran some numbers for you.